finally came on, because I go back years, now I understand what you're saying. I don't need a processor, is what you're saying. I don't need RAM, I don't need memory, I don't need all that stuff. It's a dumb terminal, okay, and it does, if I have a smart phone here, which I do, I can access virtually my files, everything, my applications, everything.
Yep, your line of business apps.
So it's like using a skeleton of whatever you have, and everything, you have everything there. I mean, if you look at it that way.
Yep.
Right? So it doesn't matter
and the
if my
like
computer crashes.
Exactly.
Right.
Or gets stolen or burned.
Right.
Like a cable company, a Comcast. You have a dumb terminal, and its sole purpose is to feed content that's hosted elsewhere. You don't have all those movies and.
It pays television.
Sure.
Exactly.
Television is a dumb terminal.
Yeah, that's what I looked at. I'm looking at that TV.
It's a window into
Yeah.
you know, multimedia that you can rent a movie. Well, we're the same way. We host all your applications. You need to use that QuickBooks application,
Right.
and we're hosting it for you. It's there. You remote in, use it just as it was sitting locally. Yes.
Okay, you were mentioning a lot of sensitive information. How is that secure from it being hacked into?
That's a great question.
An exceptionally long explanation. Best way to look at it is, you know, if you take a look at where your PC resides, even as a small business, you know, the comfort of having it there in the closet with the sprinkler overhead and no disaster recovery or backups, you kind of seeing it there feels comforting, but it's connected to the internet. And so you have a wide open accessibility to anyone. A lot of the benefits we have due to economies of scale are we're able to put in $120,000 worth of firewalls that you as a business or an individual never, ever could expense that, and it's just unrealistic. But because of our broad user base, we can expense that. It becomes a benefit to everybody. So even though it's physically not within your premise, we can bring a lot of expensive security suites. And
so basically, you guys know all our information.
But even in a managed service, you know, there's always that level of trust. You know, if somebody's coming in to work on your computer and fix something, it's just like dropping your laptop off somewhere to have someone fix it. There's always going to be that level of transparency.
Like telling a bank teller your social security.
Exactly.
Sure. You always
I've
have
got
to
a
have that level
question.
of trust, and that will never disappear. I don't think, or at least not for a while.
I think that you as a professional would do a better job at security than I could at home in
I would agree with
keeping
that
my
statement.
phone. And I think I'm pretty savvy, but I also know what I don't know. And I don't always understand what can be accessed through my systems. I kind of want to shift topic a little bit, because one of the interesting things for me is, as a Microsoft user, and I hate that I'm dependent upon them, but I do like their products. I also understand the benefits of like volume licensing. So let me ask you about software. So if I'm a customer of yours and you're offering a suite of like Microsoft Office, and they just went through, let's say, an upgrade from 2007 to 2010, do I need to pay extra for that, or do I know that? I know that you're going to take care of that.
Absolutely.
And get me the newest operating system and the newest.
So the other benefit of our product is, you know, right now we're rolling out with Office 07. They just released Office 10. We don't like to jump ship right away because sometimes there's some problems. So let that smooth over. But when the customer wants to go, the price doesn't change. We give you Office 2010, and you know, there you have it. You always have the latest and greatest of the new OSs, the new software from Microsoft, etc.
So you don't go with the beta versions then, because those are always faulty, sort of in a sense. You'll
They're-
wait until they're fully developed and tested.
We always give them at least, you know, a good 6 months in the market because there's always bugs.
And aside from the hardware, or excuse me, the software, the hardware is important as well. You get a new PC, you get it just the way you like it, everything installed, you're familiar with everything. Eventually it just gets slower and slower and slower and slower, and finally you get a new one. And you start from scratch. It's, you know, what do I do? How do I get my data from here to there? You're constantly going through that 2, 3, 4 year refresh, and that pain of having to transition. That disappears because the hardware, so to speak, is abstracted. We're constantly going to throw more resources at it. Your virtual desktop will be put on a new, faster server, and you'll never know. It's kind of, it's like any other services you use in the cloud, web pages. Yep.
It's, when you started, you said you guys started this because it felt like you were making your lives easier, right?
Yes.
At what point did you start to think about the user more than yourselves, and how much more, I guess, are you doing now that you thought, one, that you'd never have to do again, and then two, how do you create this user experience when a lot of it sometimes you get really selfish, like, I could automate this and never have to do it again. So, I mean, it just seems like there's a really fine line between being able to never have to see a person and then creating a product that's very, I mean, there's some sensitive stuff.
Sure.
So,
Great question.
How do you?
Yeah, the initial was phrased that way. Yes, it was about how can we make this easier on ourselves, but at the same time, we were doing a significant benefit to the client because they would call with an issue, and you fall within that 4-hour response time. I'll try and get out on site today to do that. Oh, your computer failed. We'll put in an order right away. I'll send you updates on the status from Dell or HP. And as soon as it arrives, we'll get out there as soon as we can to set it up. So even though it wasn't so much, it was for our benefit, but also for the benefit of our client, which in turn was our benefit.
Yeah, so now if your computer, because we don't care about the device on site, if a computer were to have a problem or hardware malfunction, we just ship you another dummy terminal per se, and we can spawn up a new virtual machine instantaneously.
Your machine, and even if that local access device went down, go home, jump right in, start working again. The time to resolve issues has plummeted, and so we don't get a lot of support calls, and there isn't that failure that you typically had before. So it makes our lives better, but also all of you guys as well. It's reciprocated.
I'm giving you my remaining risk failure is really only two things. If I lose power and or if I lose an internet connection, I'm done. The electricity goes out.
Yep,
correct.
Or I lose my internet connection, I'm done. So what happens if you lose power and you lose
I will say our data center is SAS 70, which means it literally has feeds power grid wise coming from the west, the north, and the south.
Okay.
So if something were to happen on the East Coast where a main power grid were to explode or something, there are different power feeds and redundant power feeds from different parts of the country. Same thing with internet to our facility.
Seven different internet carriers. There are diesel generators in the back that, without refueling, will run for 7 days.
You have these?
Oh, I'm going to you when the world
Yeah,
goes to
You have
pot.
direct connection to Philadelphia versus...
We 401 market
Is it 401 or 501 Broad Street? I thought it was Broad Street.
or
401 Broad.
It's Broad Street, I think.
I think you're right.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. We have the ability to fail over in case our data center were
Your
to.
bias up to them, you optical up to them?
We have a fiber ring between Bethlehem, our data centers in Valley Forge with Autobahn, PA.
Okay.
But we have the ability to fail over to any one of those sites. So if the customer requires it.
And even accessibility to get, if you have equipment on premise, to get to it, it's probably pretty easy. Break a window, get to your server, take it. To get to any of our equipment, aside from identification, biometric security, an iris scan, just to get physical access to that sort of equipment. The fire suppression systems will suppress a fire without destroying equipment. So it's those sort of advantages that we offer that as a business to try and bring in yourself completely cost effective.
So, do you guys ever work with Linux? Or am I saying it right?
Linux.
Linux. Sorry. That's sort of like the same concept of, taking a system and having a new screen show up on your computer, right? Because you switch over to